Wait a minute. I mean, it was running the whole time. Don't tell me. Oh, jeez. Okay, so I think we're good. Five, four, three, two, one. And sorry about the interruption, ladies and gentlemen, but we had a glitch on the computer. Those things happen. And even though we do all our setup, reboot, and everything else. So I'm going to pick it up. We have Jack and Margie Flynn standing by, citizens of the American Constitution.net, and friends on the stream and on YouTube, or not the stream, but on our conference system. So I'm going to pick it up. We were just talking about the secret societies. Okay, so I'm going to just back up one sentence. Then, Set Shara conceived of a plan whereby the multitude would be admitted to participate in the sacred mysteries, hitherto kept exclusive for worthy ones among men. And so just picture Freemasonry, okay, every community of the world. He gathered together a following of his own from among the people and promised in turn uh, where I was multitasking. He gathered together a following of his own from among the people and promised in return for their devotion that the knowledge of sacred things hitherto kept from them should become available. There's your Luciferian occult, clothed with light, but they've got no light. He clothed those who followed him. He called those who followed him the enlightened ones of the gods. Naturally, such folly could have but one outcome, for the experience of ages has shown that sacred things cannot be revealed to the profane. Not only would the things revealed be disdained by the ignorant, as swine would trample pearls underfoot to gobble up a handful of filth, but the multitude in its sinfulness would destroy the delicate beauty of the hidden mysteries. Like goats devouring hangings of artistically patterned loveliness, they would decide that the gross things to which they were accustomed were more satisfying. The new teachings grew in strength. This is where the secret societies spread. The new teachings grew in strength and spread throughout the whole land. It went from city to city, gaining followers in every single one of them. The lodge, right? The multitude is ever powerful. Therefore, he who controls it by whatever means is himself powerful. Thus it came about that eventually Setshara was able to challenge the authority of the twice born. In other words, we would consider the pure ones, the original transcendence. This authority was always vulnerable, as it sought to rule by wisdom and goodness rather than by power and subtlety, or shall we say craft. Only when wisdom and goodness rule the wise and good can such rule succeed. Such time may never come. Though the followers of Setshara could not discover the higher secrets, they learned the lower ones, and these were twisted, like Kabbalism, to their own ends. Thus was developed the worship of dark spirits, a vile and poisonous thing that perverted the thoughts of the people and led them away from the path of spirituality. And they instead went into dogma. Can you say morals and dogma? They strayed into all manner of strange and corrupting byways. Can you say Islam? Then their hearts hardened by earthly sordidness, they rose up, clamoring for the blood of the perfect ones, the pure ones, like the slaughter of Christians. And Buddhists, like in Vietnam, as an example, the Jesuits took that. That's what they did. They killed all the Buddhists. Now Setshara gained the ear of the king, and pouring in a flood of venom wrapped up in fine speech, he overwhelmed the heart of his majesty. None in the land had a tongue more subtle than that of Setshara. Then new shrines were set up in the temples. New forms of worship appeared, pandering to the weaknesses of men. Hidden places of the enlightened ones were profaned with wickedness, and the secret chambers of the twice-born were polluted with vile rites. Therefore the enlightened ones and the twice-born withdrew from the eyes and knowledge of men. Their day was yet to dawn, but none among them would ever have thought that never in Egypt would that day be. All right, we're having another problem. Stand by. I think it's fixing itself. Yeah, it is. Okay, so my browser closed completely, and now it's reopening. Okay, so welcome back from Forbidden History. Stream now, but it's not streaming. I see. It's going to be what? One of those millenniums? Stand by. Here it's coming back. Okay, you are live. We're still good. Okay, I don't know what happened. You know, the true definition of paranoia is one who's been made fully aware of the facts. And it's almost like somebody's playing games. So may have to get a new firewall or something. We'll find out. Okay, so it looks like video output is low. I can see that. Yeah, it's in the red. Bob, if you could get on the stream and give me an audio check on Skype and tell me how my stream is coming through, that'd be great, because right now it says I'm in the red on the stream, and I'd like to know that we're going to have a good broadcast. I'm almost done with my read here. We're about to bring on Jack and Margie. We're priming it with how things went wrong so long ago. Okay, I don't know what to do. I can close out my Mozilla Thunderbird. I'll close out my email. I'm trying to gain, what is this? Restart Firefox. I already did. Firefox, yeah, I know you had a problem and crashed. I just saw that. Okay, so I think we're still good. Let me look at my OBS, and it's in the green right now, so I think we're good. Okay, continuing. All right, the eyes of knowledge. Okay, therefore the enlightened ones and the twice-born withdrew their eyes and knowledge of men. Their day was yet to dawn, but none among them would ever have thought that never in Egypt would that day be. Yet dawn it will, even though it be in some strange land where the ways of men are different and in some manner inconceivable to men of our times. Will they be people such as we? O my land, my perfect and beautiful land, having known you, how strange all others appear. Away from you I will be as a fish cast up onto dry land. In the temples dedicated to many different gods, the forms of worship were subtly changed to serve another end. The servants of the Dark Ones were able to display wonders before the multitude, but these wonders were the works of deceit. Just like in Freemasonry, you know, they lie to the lower echelon. They tell them this is what the symbol means. But then when they get to the next higher degrees, they say, well, you know, sorry, Bubba, but we lied to you. And now here's what the symbol means. But the truth is they just lied to them again, and they don't ever really learn the truth. Until they get to the 32nd degree, they're all puppets and pawns and pukes and dupes and stoops. That's right. That's where what darkness does. My land. Okay, on my land, having known you, how strange all others appear. Away from you, I will be as a fish cast onto dry land. In the temples dedicated to many different gods, the forms of worship were subtly changed to serve another end. The servants of the Dark Ones were able to display wonders before the multitude, but these wonders were works of deceit. They revealed mysteries, but the mysteries were not the most sacred ones. These were never known by any likely to betray them. The thoughts of the people were poisoned. All manner of rites aimed at satisfying carnal cravings were introduced. Simple, satisfying answers were given to content the hearts of the people, and all manner of reward were promised. For payment made, men were promised forgiveness of even the most grievous wickedness. Can you say Grand Howling sign? Masonic oath. It is well that the ears of the dumb gods were unhearing, or they would have been deafened by the clamor of pleas for petty things. The servants of the Dark Ones left not even the dead to rest in peace, but sought to satisfy the living with words from beyond the tomb. Can you say skull and bones? Even the blood of men was offered in dark places, while in Vatican basement, while in others of greater evil, men, yes, and even children were tormented to give pleasure. Can you say pedophilia? Such is the nature of men when the scales weigh down against perfection and righteousness and purity and honesty and decency. The hosts of the Dark Ones were well skilled in battle, and they drove out all those who stood against them. The forces of perfection in the pure shelter of the divine law and righteousness were scattered. The sacred shrines which stood before the veil of truth were spoiled. The ornaments of beauty and the sacred vessels were taken away to be profaned by the sin-soiled hands. The enlightened ones and the twice-born were hunted down like beasts of the chase. They were slain and buried in the ground like dogs. Their resting places remain unmarked and unintended. Last paragraph. The leader of the light cried out, "O true, perfect, and great God, what can I do? How shall your servant be saved? What shall be done unto those who have profaned your sacred shrines? What can I do to turn back the rising waters of iniquity and temper the wild winds of wickedness? How can the black cloud of ignorance be lifted? What shall be the just reward of those who have slain the faithful and the true?" The voice coming forth by the great breath of the wind and fire, the Spirit of God breathed. Concern yourself not with those who have persecuted you. Leave them to follow the path of their own choice. Vengeance belongs with me. I will measure without stint. Justice never sleeps and never forgets. The reward of the wicked awaits them. In the hall of no hiding place, justice will speak the final word. And that we could call natural law, ladies and gentlemen. And you just got a splice from the Colburn, and what a profound work it is. And now with that, let's bring on our friends. We got a little late here with the upset. Jack and Margie Flynn, citizens of the American Constitution.net. Jack and Margie, are you there? You have to unmute. Wait a minute. Are you there, Jack and Margie? You have to unmute.
Does it?
Jack, okay, you're good.
Yes.
Okay, I thought we had a three-part harmony thing going on here. Okay.
Good evening. How are you?
Well, as you can see, we're having our glitches tonight. We never had them like this. But other than that, we hung in there, and we're doing it. I think you got pretty much the thread of what I read out of the Colburn tonight. What do you think?
I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of different things. And the bottom line, and you know we're bottom line people, is that humanity never does the right thing. And I mean never. You may have individuals from time to time who do the right thing. But as we've said a million times, there's so few and far between. They don't show up in any measurement scale whatsoever and have zero effect upon society. Mm-hmm. And invariably, the people are going to do what is best for them as individuals. And unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but they're so stupid, humanity is so stupid, especially the American people. They're so stupid, they don't even know they're stupid. And we've said this millions of times too, and people resent it, but they're beginning to realize that humanity is pretty damn stupid. If we were talking about an intelligent nation called America,
yeah,
and intelligent people, forget intelligence, just common sense, basic common sense. we would be at least 2,000 years more advanced in this nation than we are right now. There's virtually no common sense in America. And what common sense does exists what in what is called the box. And as long as one remains within the box, he has a certain amount of common sense or a certain amount of latitude. But as soon as he steps outside that box or opposes that box, it's over. So the people, again, are their own worst enemy. It's like Pogo said back, I think it was back during the Korean War. We met the enemy and the enemy is us. Well, we're always the enemy. The average guy is the enemy of America. The average guy is the enemy of intelligence, of common sense, of creating something that is different, because he will always drag whatever he can down to his level, while at the same time serving the interests of evil. And that's what the common guy does. He serves the interests of evil. He doesn't serve the interests of goodness. I mean, can you tell me, or can anyone tell me, realistically now, I'm not talking about fantasy, but I'm talking in the real world, any institution that the common guy serves that is good? One institution, just one. Can anyone tell me of one?
Well,
They don't exist.
knowing only the ones we know about. In other words, I don't they say, do you want to make a donation? When you go to checkout line, you say you want to donate to this charity. I say, well, I don't know who they are, so I can't donate. Because yes. I've learned, Jack, that typically it's a front, and they give like 5% to the needy, and then they take away 95%. It's typical to charities today. The Red Cross is the biggest one of them all, right?
Of course. But when I talk about institutions, I'm talking about institutions across the board. Governmental institutions, corporate institutions, social institutions, banking institutions, academic institutions, judicial, right across the board. They're all, without exception, evil, serving the interest of evil, yet the people of America support those evil institutions. They will never support any good institution if you can find one. I don't know of one. But if you can find one, they're not going to support it. They will oppose it. But they will support the evil institutions. So when it comes to spirituality or religion or what have you, the people will usually go to the dark side, okay? And they will usually go there either on their own or led there by shills and charlatans and the planned opposition to make sure that anything that is just and righteous will not last very long, if at all. Now, when we come to what is just and righteous, what is just and righteous in this world? If anyone out there is listening who can call us and tell us, I'd like to hear, because I don't know of anything. I know of a few people from time to time who are just and righteous, but we've got a population of roughly 315 to 320 million. It's increasing crazy, with all the immigrants coming in. The population is going up like bananas. So we might have a few within those 315 to 20 million, but not many. And as I say, even if they are just and righteous, they don't get anywhere because no one listens to them, and they have no voice, they have no effect, because the society and the institutions and the government structure and what exists does not favor righteousness and justice. So the few people who happen to fall within that category get nowhere fast. In other words, we have a really bum society.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you go to the so-called true just and righteous, my question is, this is a different category now. We're talking about a different subject here. We're not talking about the people. We're talking about those systems that claim to be just and righteous. They shall be known by their actions. And as far as I know, there are no spiritual systems that are just and righteous that are known as such by their own actions.
Yeah.
I don't know of one
Well,
in the history of this world.
Yeah, and the one, of course, that comes to mind is that international Freemasonry, system. And what's interesting, Jack, is the symbol. I just put a definition in my dictionary over this past week, and I've known for years that their secret symbol is the milk thistle. You may have seen it out there in the woods from time to time throughout your life. It's that beautiful giant weed grows